This week, we talk about next-gen game pricing, the future of Thunderbolt on Mac, Android current update situation, and more, as we, together, as a people, check it out! And welcome to another sensational Saturday. This is Mike, and this is Mike Texts It Out, where I bring you the tech news. That's right, award-winning tech news, and I'm the best to do it in Virginia on a Saturday on the Mike Texts It Out channel. The best. That's undisputed. Those are undisputed facts. So let's go ahead and get on this express train to the news. And speaking of express, the Harmony Express will officially be R.I.P'd. That's right, I know we're all very sad about it, and we're all aware of what this remote was, because I definitely was before I read the story. I wasn't before I read the story. Harmony announced today that they're going to end the Harmony Express, which has just been out for about a year. Officially on September 30, it will no longer function. So the Harmony Express was basically a remote that had echo functionality. I'm not going to say the A words, I know people are going to be triggered. But you know that one assistant that ends with Exa. You know who I'm talking about. You know, I got them all over the house too, so I can't say it. But it was a whole remote that was based on voice controls. The product just wasn't what the market wanted at this point. So yeah, apparently what they're doing, since they're killing it so soon after launch, they're killing it on September 30th after all. They're offering people a Harmony Elite for free, or they can get their refunds, but they might have to provide a proof of purchase for the refund. Now, as somebody who has a Harmony Elite and I have a secondary hub, the Harmony Elite is awesome. I really don't use the remote that often. I just mainly have it for the hub, and then I can control everything with the Echo, but I've had this for years. So, to be fair, that remote sounded like garbage. The Harmony Elite is great. If you really want the voice control, you could just pair the Harmony Hub with pretty much any Echo speaker and then still use voice controls. So to me, it's a win-win situation. I just hope that everybody who is affected is aware of it and gets their refund or whatever they decide to do in time. Like I said, it sucks for the people that invested in this product, but at least Harmony is not trying to keep it around. If it ain't working, it ain't working. So that's an RIP from me. And you know what else isn't working? The current price of games, for developers that is. So if you follow gaming closely, you know that the $60 price point really hasn't been enough money for game development. They haven't been making enough money off of there. That's why they've been doing all these side monetization things, you know, your in-game purchases and expansions, not expansions. We've gone beyond, we've evolved beyond expansions. Expansions was stuff that we had when I was a kid. Now we have DLC, you know, what the cool kids are doing, the downloadable content where you download it on the internet. That's right, online. But that $60 price point hasn't been hitting in a while. And to be honest, we've been at $60 for games since 2005. Remember back in my day, we had $50 games. You know, PS1, PS2, well, PS1 was kind of all over the place. PS2, Xbox era games were $50. The next generation, which was 360, PS3 era, they went up to $60. And that was like around 2005, 2006, and they've just been at $60 since then. So it's been a long time since game pricing has increased, and obviously inflation and everything. So that $60 back then is a lot less than it was now, which is why it's rumored that games are gonna go up to $70. So this rumor, of course, is starting because for NBA 2K21, they announced their pricing for next-gen consoles is gonna be $70 for the game. Current gen is still gonna be $60. And considering this is like an annual franchise sports game, it'd be unusual for it to come out and be $10 more expensive than every other game on this console. So everyone's thinking that next gen we're gonna go up to $70. Of course, as the IGN article mentions, this is a bad time for it considering everything's going on with the world and people being out of work for game prices to increase. But honestly, I don't even think that a lot of people are gonna be buying these systems right now, or at least when they first come out anyway, because I don't know what pricing is gonna be at, but I'm thinking around that $500 price point. And then on top of that, you're gonna have $70 games possibly. So, you know, it's gonna be a big purchase either way, but it was coming. We've been enjoying these prices for a long time. So the raise was coming, and eventually it'll probably end up going over to PC. Now, what I usually do is I just wait for them to go on sale. Like the most I might pay for a game was like $35. I really just wait a few months for the prices to drop, especially if you buy physical copies of games. Those go on sale a lot faster. So those are my pro tips for saving a little bit of money. But yeah, next gen, I think it's probably gonna be true. I think we're gonna go up to $70, but we'll see how this one shakes out. Speaking of shake it out, remember like how on the old MacBooks they had the MagSafe? If you shook it too much, the charge cable would come off to make sure that you didn't damage your computer. It was nice. And then the MacBook came out, the regular MacBook, and it had the USB-C, the one USB-C Thunderbolt port, and everything changed. Now we're all on Thunderbolt and USB-C. Speaking of Thunderbolt, everyone's questioning whether Apple's going to continue to use Thunderbolt now that they're making the switch over to their own processors, because Thunderbolt, is kind of an Intel thing. That was one of the things that was being speculated. Well, put your speculations to rest. So Apple came out with a statement this week, and they said that they will continue to support Thunderbolt on the Apple Silicon-based Macs. So don't worry about it. They said they partnered with Intel on Thunderbolt 10 years ago, and they're going to continue to support it because it brings a lot of great functionality to the Mac. And I agree with that. It would kind of suck if they lost Thunderbolt functionality, even though I know USB 4 is on the way and it's going to be able to do a lot of the same stuff. But they have all these computers that they've already built around Thunderbolt. There are all these displays and stuff that they've made around Thunderbolt, especially like the ProDisplay XDR. It wouldn't be a non-Apple thing to just drop something, so they could do it, but I don't see them doing it anytime soon unless they do move forward to something else and they continue to support Thunderbolt in their existing devices until it's just not relevant anymore and they move all their devices over to whatever new standard they pick. So it could happen, but as for right now, they said they're going to continue to support Thunderbolt, so we're going to give it an A-OK. And you know what else has been doing A-OK? Android 10. Because Google put out in a blog post this week that Android 10 is the most quickly adopted version of Android to date, as far as users getting updated to it, with 16% of users getting updated to Android 10 within 10 months. So it may sound low. I mean, you're looking at like 16%. That's not a lot. And it is a lot because there's a lot of Android phones out there. There's a lot more Android phones than there are, any other phone operating system in the world. If you look at it as like, oh, that's only a small part of their user base, while that is true, there's just a lot of bad history with Android phones not getting updated and it pretty much being left up to the manufacturer, and then they just don't update it because they've already moved on to the next phone. The thing is, when these manufacturers do their own, version of Android and they put all this work into it, when an update would come out, they'd have to go back in and make sure the update was compatible with the work that they've done to the operating system and then roll out that update. So because that would require them going back and doing that work, a lot of the times they just weren't updating it. It's gotten better recently, and that's because Google's been putting in a lot of work. So basically what Google's been doing since Android 8 is trying to modularize Android, so that way it gives these phone creators space to, develop or put whatever changes they want into the operating system without affecting the core of the operating system. And they're actually starting soon with doing the same thing with the Linux kernel, because I guess up until this point, phone manufacturers also had access to the actual Linux kernel that the operating system is based off of, and they can make whatever changes. So just basically trying to create a core for Android that's going to be the same amongst all phones, and that way eventually Google could just update everybody's phone. My interpretation of the whole thing is that Google wants to get to the point where they can update the core operating system without having to worry about the work that the phone manufacturers have done to customize their version of Android. Like the core operating system is going to be unchanged no matter what phone you have. And then if they do an update to the core operating system, like security updates or whatever, then it should not interfere with the work that the phone manufacturer's done to customize Android to, their liking or whatever. That's the goal that they're working to get to. So Android 10, like the 16% getting updated in 10 months, it is a step in the right direction with the work that they've been doing. And I do have to applaud them for that, because fragmentation is a huge issue with the Android operating system. Like, you can still buy new phones today that are running Android 8, and then that's the only operating system that it runs. So I really think it is good that Google's stepping up and kind of taking charge to try to remediate some of these issues. And speaking of issues, in our final story, Apple did mention at WWDC that they're going to be issuing out the first ARM-based Mac at the end of the year. Woo! That transition was, come on. That transition, issuing out new issuing, anyway. Longtime Apple leaker and predictor Ming-Chi Kuo predicted that that first Mac could be the 13-inch MacBook Pro that could either come out towards the end of this year or Q1 of 2020, and then they said a new MacBook Air would follow shortly, even though some people just bought one. The other part of the speculation is that like later next year, like Q2 or Q3, then they would have the 14-inch MacBook Pro, the rumored one that, you know, everybody thinks are going to make the screen bigger. So the 14-inch and the 16-inch running ARM-based chips. That's what the rumor is. That's what Ming-Chi Kuo put out there in the air. Said, believe me if you want to. I don't know if I believe it or not. I mean, I definitely think the 13-inch MacBook Pro makes a lot of sense, because if you look at that base model, it's literally the 2020 MacBook Pro, the 13-inch is literally the same as the 2019. It's just they put in the new keyboard. That's pretty much it. Until you get up to the upper tier models, that's where you get the newer Intel processors. If they do it, I think it'll probably be just replacing that lower tier that really didn't get much of an update other than the keyboard. The MacBook Air also makes sense, like the fanless design, the fact that it's like on fire all the time. I have my full review coming on Tuesday, so make sure to subscribe. Look out for that. When they made the Apple Silicon announcement, I was like, this is perfect for a machine like the MacBook Air that's super thin and light. I'm really excited to see what they're going to do. So I really hope that this turns out to be true and we get to see some new MacBooks. I'm really excited to see what the performance and the experience is going to be like when that comes out. So I'm hoping I'll get a chance to try one. You know, going out anywhere right now is weary, so I don't think it's going to happen for a long time. But, you know, I'm going to keep my eye out and try to get my hands on one. But for right now, I'm going to get hands off and bring this video to a conclusion. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure to tell a friend, tell a coworker, like, share, and subscribe, and always do at least 2 things at the same time. Peace. That was a weird finger thing. I don't know why I did that. I guess I'm just going to stall for a little bit while this outro screen finishes.